YouTube feed, so everyone not here can see us and everything. Thanks for being with us. Welcome, everyone. Glad you're here for this second press conference from the Elections Command Center. My name is Fields Mosley. If you don't know me already, I'm the Communications Director here at Maricopa County. And through doing these press conferences, we're hoping to empower voters, give them timely information, combat misinformation that might be out there, and of course answer any questions from members of the news media who are here. So a little update on press credentials. I thank you all that have submitted for your press credentials. We've approved more than 200 journalists so far. So people from as far away as Korea, Japan, Netherlands. Some of these are U.S.-based teams that are coming in to cover elections and how they work, and of course security around elections as we get closer to in this 2022 cycle. So today we have a number of people available to answer questions. They're going to give a short presentation as well. I have the Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Bill Gates, also the County Recorder, Stephen Richer, and Elections Directors Scott Jarrett and Ray Valenzuela are also here. Ray has a short presentation for you guys today as well. So Chairman Gates is going to have some opening remarks. He'll be followed by Ray and then the recorder. And then a few rules of the road for those of you who haven't been here before. I see everyone is seated for the most part, unless you're running a camera at the back of the room. I thank you for that. Jesse, if you're asking a question, please raise your hand. I will recognize you. Jesse has a microphone. She'll bring you the microphone, and that's so people on the YouTube feed that are watching that way can hear you ask that question, and so they're not guessing what you asked. So when you address us and ask your question, please tell us who you are and what organization you're with, and hopefully nobody feels the urge to shout over each other. We're here to answer all your questions, no secrets. And if you have data questions, something more complicated that we have to research, please give us a little time. We'll get back to you by email or a phone call later today, hopefully, if it's not too complicated. Finally, if you represent a Spanish language station, radio station, TV station, or if you need some translation at all, when we're in the Q&A part of this, we're happy to have you come up and translate for that, or we can also address some of the questions that have been asked and answered during the time later on, and make sure you get those answers in Spanish for your Spanish language audience. So with that, I'll introduce Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Bill Gates.
Thank you, Fields. Great to see everyone today. Thank you so much for being here to cover this important issue. We are excited here at Maricopa County that the election is underway. Just on Tuesday, we completed the successful logic and accuracy test, and that's witnessed by all of the political parties, and it demonstrates that our tabulation machines are going to count the ballots accurately. And then yesterday, we started mailing the ballots out. So maybe you get a text like I do when your ballot is mailed out. I got mine yesterday. Love that. And I encourage all of you who aren't signed up for that, go ahead, go on our website, sign up for that, and you get the latest and greatest and know when your ballot is headed your way. We're going to talk today about the checks and balances that are in place. You know, it's, again, unfortunately, there continues to be a lot of misinformation out there about our election system. And so today we're going to talk about some of those checks and balances that are there to ensure the security of the process and the integrity of your vote. From the time that your ballot is created to the time that we canvass the election at the end, there's a check on the system to ensure that not only legal ballots are counted, but also that people who aren't supposed to vote don't. And like I said, you'll hear about some of those checks and balances today. These safeguards, which by the way, they're not new, these have been in place for decades. They are why I have confidence that our system is safe, and that we can tell all of our residents, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, Independents, that their votes matter. So again, thank you for being here today, and we certainly appreciate you covering this important election.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And next we'll have Ray Valenzuela come up. He's one of our co-directors of elections.
Good afternoon, and thank you. And I echo the chairman's thank you to the media for allowing us to present this information so we can have well-informed voters. What I'm going to speak to, because it's the division I oversee, is early voting, and also because it just started yesterday. So some of the numbers, just to giving you some raw numbers and a little bit of information on the process. As far as the numbers go, we did mail 1.9 million, nearly 1.9 million yesterday. And as of today at 12:30, checking the numbers, we're at exactly 1,922,122 requests in-house, and that number continues to grow. So again, voters can continue to request ballots. The deadline for that, and you'll see, I know we had some calendars up there that the voters could see. The last day to make a request, for those of you that are wanting to vote at your new polling place called your couch, please exercise that right. Go to request.maricopa.vote. That deadline closes the Friday prior, which is October 28th by 5 p.m. So again, you have a lot of options. One of those is to, again, exercise that right to vote. So 1,922,122 to date, and that continues to grow. A lot of folks will be surprised. We actually have returned ballots. This election is actually underway, and you'll ask how, since we just mailed yesterday. But a lot of folks aren't aware that we have federal law requires military and overseas voters to be allowed to be sent ballots 45 days out. So September 24th, we mailed to those military voters. Approximately 6,322 as of, again, noon today are eligible and qualified military and overseas, and we have a total of 822 of those ballots already returned. So again, if anybody is eligible and should have the right, as those military servicemen and women, the right that are defending the democracy. So 822 of those have been returned. We also have our in-person sites that opened yesterday. 12 of them, and we had no issues. Those opened on time, and we had a total of 313 voters utilize that in-person voting. Again, not a lot of voters, but that will grow, and obviously every vote counts. And as of 12:30 today, I'm running these numbers. We had 129 additional voters. That gets us to 442 voters today that have voted in person or exercise that in person in voting. So again, want to emphasize that we have the early voting has begun as of 45 days ago with the military and overseas, but we are well underway, and you still have the ability to request that ballot by 5 p.m. on October 28th. One of the other questions is, when can we expect, or voters expect, to see these ballots? So the 1.9 million that went out for all of our able, active early voting list voters and one-time requests, those check now. Some voters probably will, even though they just mailed, but the average is 2 to 6 days. So the bulk of voters will see them tomorrow, Saturday, with some of our rural counties seeing those within that 4, 5, 6 day window. But again, look now, and you should be having those in your mail if you are, again, an able active early voting list voter or one-time request. When should they return the ballot? Now, this one is a little bit, again, it's a choice, but we're trying to emphasize that if you want to have your voice heard through the sound of your vote, and you want it to be the first part of our release results at 8 p.m. on election night, we recommend that we have that ballot in our hands by the Saturday before. So November 5th, if we have it in our hands, we will be able to signature verify it. One of the checks and balances that Chairman Gates talked about, 100% of those are signature verified by humans, citizen boards of differing parties, and they have to then be processed and tabulated. So if we have those in our hands by November 5th, Saturday, they will be part of that first release of results. Now, if you're not interested in that and you do have a steadfast deadline that it has to be by state law, received by us by 7 p.m. on election night. Postmarks do not count. So that's important to let folks of, we're a migratory state where a lot of folks come in from different rules. Every state's have different rules. So again, ballot, and you did opt to vote at your new polling place called your couch, as I like to say, then you can opt to mail it back, and you can also opt to drop it off. So we do have our 12 sites that are open now. We will be opening up in those in phases. So October 28th, we have an additional, 44, which will get us to 56 sites. November 7th, 128 total. And then on election day, November 8th, the breadth of the remainder, 223 vote anywhere vote centers. I want to make sure I say that because a lot of folks, if you have a ballot and you're driving out of town and you can go in through Wickenburg, then drop it off at Wickenburg. Our locations.maricopa.vote. Again, locations.maricopa.vote will give you the hours of those 12 sites that are open. When those next set are open, it'll give you the nearest location based on an address, but you can also look for Dropbox only locations through that locations.maricopa.vote description, because that's going to tell you when you mail it to us, when we receive it, you're going to get that text or email that says your ballot has been received, is undergoing signature verification, and has counted, most importantly. So that adds that layer of checks and balances and transparency to the process. So